The Orlando Magic take on the Milwaukee Bucks, who will be without Giannis for might be a little bit of an extended period of time, but for tonight, Giannis is going to be out. We're going to break this game down. We're going to have a best bet in it as well. We're going to have a prop, and I have a strong opinion on the total in this game. We're going to give out a promo code for a nice discount on a 7-day pass as well. But let's break this game down, and obviously the big news is going to be the injury. We need to look at the Bucks and how have they been this year without Giannis. Well, they're 3-3. They have lost their last two. They lost to Toronto without him. They lost to Boston without him. They did beat the Clippers and they beat the Suns. They lost to the Cleveland Cavaliers and they beat Toronto without him. So when we look at the Orlando Magic, Wagner looks like he is going to be out for today. So we got Suggs and Harris, Banchero, and Carter starting. The line is a pick 'em right now on the WagerTalk live odds page. I'm not necessarily too interested in that. I definitely don't want anything to do with Milwaukee without Giannis coming off of a back-to-back, especially in a game last night where it was a nice win against Boston. I don't know how much you can take away from this game. Boston didn't seem like they really cared too much about it. And Milwaukee, they got Patrick Beverley, 4 of 8 from three-pointers, and Brook Lopez, 5 of 8 from three-pointers. I don't think you can depend on getting Lopez and Beverly to go a combined 9 of 16 from three-pointers each game. So back-to-back situation, I believe this is tough. I like the over on 216, and here's why. First off, the last couple games without Giannis have easily gone over this total. Actually, the last 3 have easily gone over. So we go back to the Bucks versus the Raptors game. That game ends 111-117, 10 points over this 216 total. We go back when they played the Celtics without Giannis. That's a 119-122 total, easily over this. And then we go back to March 17th against Phoenix without Giannis, 140-129. So these games have really turned into track meets without Giannis. And it does make sense that without that big defensive presence inside, you kind of get into a little bit of shootout. When we look at defensive rating over the last 10 games, Milwaukee has actually been pretty good, but again, that is with Giannis. Orlando has been pretty good on defense, but the pace numbers really surprised me. I fully expected Orlando to be like one of the slowest 3 teams, and they're not. They're 21st, so they're certainly not super fast. But they do move up and down the court just a little bit below average, not nearly as bad as I thought. Milwaukee is middle of the pack at 14, so I think this is going to have a decent pace game. And when we look at the Orlando Magic, they're coming off of a loss to Houston. That game ended 118-106. That was on the road. That easily goes over this total. We look at their road game before that against Charlotte, a 124-115 total. Against New Orleans, a 117-108 total. So their road games for Orlando are going over this total. So I think the combination of Orlando on the road and the Bucks being without Giannis lends this to a much higher scoring game than the books are thinking here. So my favorite play on the side or total is going to be the over 216. And if we like there to be points in this game, I like a good player prop on a guy to score some points to go over, and it's going to be Jalen Suggs. Right now, his point total is 13.5. He's been really good the last couple games. When you look at his box score, 7 of 13 against Houston, 7 of 13 against Chicago as well. So 21 and 19 points recently. He's gone over this total without Wagner easily in the last 3 games, 16, 16, and 21 without Wagner. And that 21 point was in the last game against Houston. So he's got a good track record without Franz. And against Milwaukee, he played them in November. He had 20 points. And this is a Milwaukee team that is bottom 5 in defending point guards and shooting guards. They are terrible on the perimeter. So when we're looking at points in this game, I think you're going to see a nice game from the perimeter, and that means Jalen Suggs should have a nice game. So grab the player prop, 13.5 points over, and I like the game to go over as well. I mentioned a promo code, and you can get that right now, Andy7. It gets $30 off a 7-day pass. Guys, it's the Masters Week. It's UFC 300. We have 2 5% plays locked and loaded at WagerTalk. We're coming off a beautiful win on $2 Tuesday, and we're going to ride that momentum into the next few days. It's a massive week of sports. We're number 1 in NHL. You'll get those plays included. We're coming off an NBA win. You'll get those plays as well as our MLB plays. We're 3-1 to start the MLB season. So all of these plays are going to be included, including the 5% plays on the Masters and UFC 300. Just use the promo code Andy7. Gets $30 off a 7-day pass. We're up 58 units in 2024, and we're looking to add to the winnings. Take advantage of that. Andy Lang at WagerTalk.com, and good luck on all your plays.
Take a look here today at the big game breakdown for Wednesday. Going to go to Miami, check out the Mavericks and the Heat in what is a big game, but may not be such a big game for Dallas anymore. Last night, certainly they were looking for a Clippers loss. They're in pursuit of that number 4 seed in the Western Conference. But for Dallas now, 3 games to play. They trail the Clips by 2. The Clippers own the tiebreaker against the Mavs. So basically, Dallas would have to go 3-0 down the stretch here, and the Clippers would have to go 0-3 for Dallas to overtake them and earn a home floor advantage in the opening round. For the Clippers, they do have Phoenix tonight, but they closed the season with 2 home games against Utah and Houston, 2 of which they will be favored, no doubt. So it doesn't look bright for Dallas at this time to overtake LA for that number 4 seed. And you just wonder in a back-to-back situation like this, and they didn't extend themselves last night, really. Luka and Kyrie did play mid-30s for minutes, but there could be potential here to just put a bow on it, maybe hang on to 5 and hit the playoffs with a matchup most likely against the Clippers. We'll see, but I do question the focus and mindset a little bit with Dallas in this game. If I look at Miami for this one, they're off of a double overtime last night. Big win against the Atlanta Hawks. However, it takes its toll on a team like Miami, that short rotation that's always playing banged up bodies. Last night in that game against Atlanta, you get Jimmy Butler for 44 minutes, Bam Adebayo for 47-41, Tyler Hero for 47-39. So both of them closer to 48 than they were 47 minutes. And guys like Nikola Jovic, 39 and a half minutes. Hayward Highsmith, 35 and a half minutes. It's a lot of toll on Miami to grind out that win last night. Have to wonder if the fatigue situation doesn't take a big role in tonight's game. I say that because I'm going to combine it here with Dallas's defensive prowess. We've talked about it now for a while, so it certainly is not a mirage. It's been 15, 20 games now, at least 15, where they're the number 1 ranked defensive efficiency team in the NBA. And I would expect that to continue here. If Miami has tired legs, you would think that the shooting is off a little bit against this Dallas defense. And again, I don't know that Dallas wants to go quick pace here with Miami either. So what we did here was took a look at the total, and the total for this game opened 218.5, crawling down now to 213.5. Probably still some value there, but that's the way we're going to look at it. Big game breakdown. Haven't seen officially yet, but it could be with this big dip that Dallas ends up not really playing Luka and Kyrie all that much in the second of back-to-backs. Another reason why you would want to look it under. So that's the way we're going to look for the big game breakdown tonight. Dallas at Miami. Going to play. I'm looking here real quick as we do this big game breakdown recording. It looks like 214 is still available out there. So shop the best you can. But we're going to play this one, Dallas at Miami, under the total. Today's best bet, Wednesday, April the 10th. We're going to look at Toronto at Brooklyn. Listen, there's nothing fancy here. We're just going to ride out what we've been riding out with the Toronto Raptors for quite some time now, and that is a play on over. It's always a situation of which angle do I want to go after where the over is concerned. For this one, we'll go full game. Full game over 222. It's risen from 218.5 opener now to 222. Again, it's just mechanical plays on Toronto. Last night, again, if you had the Toronto-Indiana game over, it worked. If you had the Indiana team total, it worked. If you had the Toronto team total, it worked. Everything worked. Because Toronto's just shown us for quite some time now how they were going to close out this season. It was going to be fast-paced. They now own the number 1 tempo in the NBA over the course of the last 5. They're also number 3 over the course of the last 10. So up-tempo basketball from the Raptors. combined with a lack of defense. 30th ranked defensive efficiency team. There's only 30 in the NBA. The Raptors are the worst on the defensive side of the ball for the last 15 games. Don't expect that to change here in a back-to-back situation with some travel. For the Raptors defensively, they've allowed 128 points or more in 6 of their last 7 games. So here come the Nets, a team that, we don't generally consider high potency offense. And certainly after the Sunday game where they only scored 77 against Sacramento, you wouldn't consider them high potency offense. But that was a game with a couple starters out of the starting lineup. They were shy rotation wise. It was a season low, 77 points. They shot 34.9 from the field, 23.3 from three, both horrendous numbers. You would expect those to pick up tonight against Toronto's miserable defense at this point in time. The starting lineup will also feature a couple of reinsertions of starters. Cam Thomas in the lineup here, Cam Johnson in the lineup here, and Nick Claxton, both in the lineup tonight for Brooklyn, weren't present on Sunday against Sacramento. Before that game against Sacramento, Brooklyn had scored 111 or more in 5 of their 6 previous games. So it's not like they hadn't been scoring. And I don't think it's a situation where they won't score a whole bunch here tonight against Toronto. Again, we went over those numbers. They've allowed 128 plus in 6 of their last 7. I think, the back-to-back for Toronto, obviously, it's not going to hurt too much because they've sort of established the way they're going to play each and every game. So I don't think the back-to-back really matters. And I especially don't think it matters because they rested point guard Emmanuel Quickley last night. He will play tonight. And Emmanuel Quickley is the key to the ignition for this team. And when he's present, they go even faster than they went last night against the Pacers. So Toronto probably dictates that. There's probably plenty of scoring opportunities in this one. If you're just looking at full game total trends as of late, Toronto games have exceeded 228. Tonight's total is 222, but they've gone over 228 in 6 of their last 7. Brooklyn, for what it's worth, has gone over 220 in 5 of their last 7. I agree with the line move here. The opener was a little bit shy. We're now up to the point of 222, but I think we're looking at a game that probably lands at least 225 or better. I'm going to play it that way here. I'm not going to argue anybody off of playing, a Toronto team total over, a Brooklyn team total over, a first half over, however you want to look at it. But for me, the best bet of the day came from full game. I'm going to play it that way. Toronto at Brooklyn, full game over 222.